hire purchase. The first crucially important part is that hire purchase is always going to be simple interest in high school. Okay, real life is a bit more complicated, but hire purchase will always be simple interest. So off the bat, you already know which formula we're going to use, because remember we also did compound interest this year in grade 9. Okay, your steps are going to be, you read very carefully what the question is telling you. It's usually like a whole story, multiple lines you need to read very carefully. And as you're reading, like, make notes for yourself. Like, here you see a percentage. Okay, which type of percentage is it? Because sometimes you also have a deposit. Your deposit is based on your cash price. Sometimes they will actually tell you the deposit is R5, but sometimes they will tell you it's 5% of the cash price. So the cash price is what's there on the shelf or in the display room, what the thing actually costs. Then your percentage is going to be based on that. So if you pay 5% deposit, you are actually only borrowing 59% of whatever this thing costs. So the rest of your calculations will be on the 59%. You pay that 5% or that R5 up front before you take the thing home, and then your hire purchase agreement will be on the rest. Okay, so this is where you have to be very, 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 very careful. You cannot put what the thing originally costs there by the P when you go find the interest if you paid a deposit. If you didn't pay a deposit, then the cash price goes there. But if you paid a deposit, you are only putting there what you borrow. Okay, and then your I is your interest rate. Remember, it's always over 100, or you can write it as a decimal, or you put the percentage sign there and use the percentage sign on your calculator. Okay, and make sure you don't get confused with which percentage is for which percentage. Your interest rate will usually say like per annum or literally the word interest. Then sometimes they will ask you, or quite often they will ask you to find the monthly payment. Now that will be the part that you borrowed that gained interest, right? Divided by how many months. So here, when you divide, it's how many months, but that will still be years. In your formula, that will still be years because your interest rate is per annum. Okay, so you need to make sure what your interest rate says it is matches up with what you put there for your N. Okay, that is separate from your monthly payments, what you divide by. Okay, usually we break this question down for you a bit. We don't just ask you, whoops, there you go, find the monthly payment, but they could. So you need to be able to have this whole thought process on your own. Oh, just a side note, I probably should have started with this, but what hire purchase is you want to buy something that costs a lot of money. You don't have the money up front. You maybe have a portion of it, but not all of it. So you can make an arrangement with the company that is selling this product. This is usually for like cars and cell phones and fridges or whatever, big things. You can make an arrangement. You take the thingy home today and you are going to pay it off in the future. Not to be confused with lay-by, where you first pay for the thing and then you take it home. Okay? So in essence, you are first hiring this product from the company until you've paid the last cent back, then you purchase it. Okay, so it belongs to the company or to the bank or whoever you're owing the money to until the day that you have paid. Okay, so let's do an example of hire purchase. So here they're telling you Agnes is buying a tumble dryer for 4,000 Rand. Okay, this is the cost price. It's what it costs originally. She takes out a hire purchase loan involving equal monthly payments, okay, over 3 years. So we already know this 3 is going to be our N. The interest rate is 14% per annum. This is how we know our N is going to be 3 and not 3 times 12 because it says per annum, per year. Simple interest. We don't have to tell you that part. You need to know it's simple interest. She also takes out an insurance premium that is $12.40 per month to cover the cost of damage or theft or something. You will find in real life oftentimes if you do buy something in hire purchase or not, that they will ask for proof of insurance or make you take out insurance on that product, especially on like a house and a car. They will literally not let you drive that car out unless they know it's been insured, because if something happened, you don't own it yet, right? So if something happens to that car while it's not technically yours yet, the bank, the bank, the bank is not going to be very happy with you or whoever. Okay. Now here, the people were nice. We asked you 2 questions instead of just, oops, what is the monthly payment? Okay, so the first question is asking you, what is the actual amount paid for the tumble dryer? We know it costs 4,000 in store. That's what it says there on the label. But if you don't have the 4,000 up front, or Agnes doesn't have the 4,000 up front, she is using hire purchase to pay this off. So she is paying more than just the 4,000. She's paying the 4,000 with interest. So we are actually just looking for our A. Okay, there was no deposit here or anything, so we don't have to do that first part. We are straight going to go A is equal to P1 plus IN. This needs to be in your brain. We do not give you this formula. If you use the wrong formula, you get 0. Okay, sorry, this is for A. Then we know originally it costs 4,000. 1 plus. The interest rate is 14%. And for 3 years. And you put in your calculator. So you'll just see I wrote there other ways you could have written an interest rate. And you'll see actually she paid 5,680 Rand for this tumble drying, including the interest she had to pay. Then the question thereafter asks you, what is her monthly payment? Okay, so we know she's borrowing the 5,680. So we're going to divide that by the amount of months that she is paying back. So it's for 3 years times 12, because that's how many months they are. How many months? Because that's how many months they are in 3 years, the 36. You put in your calculator, and then you'll get, for every month she's paying 157 Rand and some cents for this tumble dryer. But it's not the only thing she's paying each month. She's also paying the 12 Rand 40 that they forced her to take out because she needs insurance in case something happens. So actually her payment each month is the 157,78 plus the 12 Rand 40. So she's actually paying each month 170 Rand and 18 cents. Let's do another example. Again, it's a hire purchase question, but this time there's a deposit. And there's no sub-question. So you need to do everything on your own. You need to know your steps out of your brain. So you are buying a car for 120,000. Likely not, but maybe. You pay a deposit of 30%. Okay, so that's our deposit percentage. So in actuality, we are only borrowing 70% of that 120,000 of the cost of the car and pay back the balance. Ooh, 20% interest, guys. Don't do it. Anyway, per year, okay, so we know our N is going to be in years and our N is going to be 4. What is your monthly payment? Okay, now this is where knowing your steps is going to save you. So we firstly know we are not borrowing everything. We are paying a deposit first. So our deposit is 30%. And that's how we write 30%, 30 over 100 times 120,000. So our deposit is 336,000. So in actuality, what we are borrowing and therefore paying simple interest on and will have to pay back is the original amount, the cost price, minus the 36,000. So our P is going to be 84,000. Okay, you could also have gotten this by saying 70% of the 120,000. You'll see if you put in your calculator, you get the same answer. So the question basically, well, which one to do basically, is going to depend on what the question is asking you. If they want the deposit first, you can't skip the step and go straight to your P. If they don't ask for either, it doesn't matter which method you use. If they ask you for how much do you still owe on this car or whatever, then you can do either straight 70% of it, or you can do the 2 steps. It doesn't really matter. Okay, then we know the 84,000 we still need to pay back, but not just the 84,000, because they are doing us a favor, I guess, by letting us buy this car on hire purchase. We are not just paying the 84,000, but we are paying interest on it as well. So our interest rate is 20%, just insane, times our amount of years, which is 4. You put in your calculator, and you'll get 151,200. Okay, again, this now you see it's more than what the car actually costs. That's normal. Yeah, it's not nice, but it's normal. Okay, so this 151,200 is what we still have to pay back with our interest. Then we are actually looking for the monthly payments. So we take that 151,200, we divide it by amount of months, so it's for 4 years. Yeah, so our monthly payment is 3,150, which is a lot more manageable to pay once off than 120,000, which is why people usually have hire purchase. Okay, so just to recap, we found the deposit. This is what the person, or in this case you, paid before you took the car home. Then they say, okay, you can take the car home now without paying the full amount, but you're going to pay interest on that part that you still owe. So they add the interest, and then they divide it by how many months you have to pay it back, which is how we get to our final answer. Okay, in real life, if you want to buy a car, it's not going to be simple interest, but let's not get into that.